This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code SOCRATES at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, you know, it's actually really fascinating how outside of what we used to know and live like we are. Like how different it is from when we were kids to like now. Okay, so like, no, but like really think about this. It was tripping me out last night because like I was saying like, because you know, like, all right, you live next to me, and then you also lived next to Wob, right?
Yeah.
So we were just talking about like how we used to go outside and play like every day because it was like 9 or something.
No, it's funny because it's like this was.
You were thinking about that too?
Yeah, this was like maybe a week or two ago. It was just we were discussing like our childhood kind of thing, like how.
Who? You and me?
No, me. Yeah. No, not on the podcast. No, me and Thivia were just talking about it like the other day.
Oh, okay, dude, me too. No, really, like it was crazy. So like, okay. Well, what was your takeaway? Because I was just thinking about. Well, I'll set the stage, and then what was your takeaway? So, when we were kids, we would go out because the reason why this came up is I looked outside and I was like, oh, it's still bright. Like it was like getting kind of dark. And I looked at the time; it was like 9, and I was like, oh yeah, this is probably like when we'd start winding down the basketball period, and then because like me, like right now it's like 9:30, not now, but like now in my age, like at 9:30 we're like, okay, we're getting ready for bed, and like 10:30 we're like, we're gonna go to bed. It's like 10 we're like getting like it's pretty much done. The day's done, right? But I was like, but that's kind of like prime time as a kid for us, right? And Tara's like, what do you mean? And like, were you one of those kids that like when it went dark, you'd have to go inside? I'm like, my mom would just like open the door and shout like, hey, VJ, it's like night, time to come inside. Remember she used to do that? Like we play basketball, like, one more game. Hold on, we're like almost done. And then we'd like keep playing, and then we'd be like, oh shoot, it's too dark. And then we'd be like, all right, Vish, open your garage. And then we'd start like move to ping pong. Remember? And then you'd like show us something that you were watching on your PlayStation PSP. Remember we talked about Avatar, right?
Right.
And then my mom would like open the door, kind of like, it's been an hour. What are you doing? And like, all right, no, we're just playing in Vish's garage, And then we'd go in at like, I don't know, like 12 a.m. sometimes, like 1 a.m. Or like my mom would be like, oh, it's dark, just come into our house. So we'd all go into my house and start playing video games. Remember that? Like it was just like, but that was a constant. It was like 10 a.m. I'd like wake up 10 a.m., run outside, go to your house and be like, hey, Miss Gundalker, is Vishal home? And then she'd be like, oh, Vishal, BJ's outside, right? And then like you'd be like, oh, I'll be out in a second. I'm like, all right, cool. And I'll run over to Wob's house, be like, Mr. Bautista, is Brentley home? And then Brentley would like pop out his head, and then he'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna come outside in a second. And then I just wait outside while shooting the basketball until both of you guys came outside. Right. That was like our day. It was like from 10, and then maybe there'd be a break. We'd just go out and eat, and then we'd like end off at like midnight, and just do it again. Right?
Yeah.
All right. That's what you remember, right?
Yeah.
And then all right, and then Tara's like, well, how long did that last? Like, how old are you? I'm like maybe like elementary school is like I remember it still being like grade 6, 7, like whenever you moved there, and like we were kind of doing that thing, and then even in university, remember like you'd like go to college and then you'd come home and then we'd be playing basketball still. I'm like, hey, Vish is home. All right, cool. Like we literally did that every single day until like we were really old,
Right.
No, but like repetitively. And then we just always be like, well, what are we gonna do today? It's kind of boring. You want to go to the basketball courts? Or like, oh,
Hmm.
do you want to go bike to Pickering? Like, we try and find something to do, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, what happened between then and now? All right, what's your takeaway? Because like you were talking about it too, and it's just like it's just so different now, you know?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, yeah, you grow up, you either have family and things like that. But like my thing was, even though with all that, or our discussion was more about like how lucky we actually were in the
Oh,
way that
interesting,
things were set up. Because you're not gonna have friends right next door. That doesn't
dude.
happen,
No, I know. No, I know. No, I know. That's
right?
the crazy part.
Yeah,
But no, that's literally the
yeah.
crazy part about it, right? And it's like as I see like Jared Wobb said they have kids now and they're getting older and it's just like that was just like it's kind of just phasing into like adulthood. But I was
Hmm.
like, where is that point where it's like you go from being a kid playing outside to being an adult,
Hmm.
you know? And I'm like, is it when you have your own kids? Like that's the only sticking point for me where I'm like, is that the jump? I don't know where the jump is. There's like a point where you're just like, oh, we're not playing outside anymore. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But all right, continue with your thing about like the luckiness and like, because I'm
No,
so interested to see what you're gonna
yeah.
say.
Just I think that it was we were able to keep it for so long was because we were right next door to each other,
Yeah, literally.
right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah. That's
it's
a huge
just
part of
easier
it.
to yeah. Like but some people didn't have it like that. So we
Remember
were
when Wob moved one block over? We just stopped calling him out. We're like, oh, so far now,
yeah. Yeah, it was far. It
right?
was yeah.
But it was like literally just like one street over. But it was like so hard to call him out because you
Yeah.
gotta walk over there. There's no cell phones, right? So you can't
Right.
just text them and be like, yo, we're outside.
Yeah. It was
But like,
interesting. Yeah. What else? But we were. I mean, it was easier because we were neighbors, and then we were able to just call out each other, right? Like just ring on the bell. It's easy to do
yeah,
that.
totally. But you know what's interesting? No, like it's not just the bell thing. Okay,
Hmm.
so like now we're getting to like the sadder aspects of it because like now I just started like explaining it and Tara's like, oh, that's kind of sad for them, right? But all right, so after I'd call Wob out and we'd shoot, and then we'd be like we'd playing, and then we'd be like, yo, should we call it Mark? I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. So we'd like walk over, like if I hadn't done it already,
Yeah.
we
Right.
would all walk over and then we just spend time in his garage, like playing poker or something, playing. He had a basketball net too, so we played there. And then we'd be like, yo, should we call it? Oh, it's kind of far. You know what I mean? Like, it was a kind of mission, right? And like, even Jared's like, oh, it's kind of far, bro. I was like, but it wasn't really, but it's just like, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
we'd be playing in front of my house, and then Kevin across the street would be like, yo, you guys playing outside? He'd run outside. We're like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, so it was really just us.
It was us. But there was one thing I did remember now. What we were talking about was like when I first moved there. It was I think that was the initial thing. Was like I didn't know you even existed as a neighbor.
Right. Yeah.
It was
It
like
was like Kevin, right?
yeah. It was just once I moved there. It was like okay, how do I make friends? Right? Like how do I meet people?
Mm.
So somebody that was outside, and that person knew Kevin, and only Kevin knew about you. I think
Oh, really?
that's how it happened.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then I knew I was like, oh, you're living next door the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I think
That's
that's what
weird,
rolled
eh?
it off. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, totally. And like, it's weird when you think about it because it's like, how the hell did that happen? It was just like perfect
Hmm.
circumstance,
Yeah.
you know? And like, arguably, I'd say that like you and Wab are like my two closest friends. I mean, like obviously, like Jared and Sid are still my close friends, but like in terms of like the order with which I called you both out,
Hmm.
that's kind of like how it like we have a weekly podcast. Like
Yeah.
I'd always call you up first, and then like I'll just respond to Wob's stories because he's like doing something interesting. I'm like, oh, that's so
Hmm.
cute, whatever. It's like because he was next, you know, and like it's so weird to think about like the structure of it mentally. It's like habitual. We don't even think about like
Yeah. It's I
friendships or
guess
the development of friendships. You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
It's really weird
Hmm.
because you're like I haven't seen you physically in so long. But like we
Right.
have a weekly podcast. So it's like there's
Yeah.
still that, you know? And then I'll like text you something during the week, but it's like you know what I mean? It's like a weird habit we formed.
Hmm.
Like that's why like not to get all like sentimental about it, but like I don't really think of you guys like friends. I think you kind of like brothers because we were always outside,
Yeah.
and like we lived right now. The only thing that separated us was sleeping in different houses,
Hmm.
right? But we still went to each other's houses, went to each other's birthdays. You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
just we're always around each other, so it was like not a weird thing to think of you more like brothers than friends. Like I distinctly remember
Yeah,
like
you
being
saying
in
that
like
before.
what?
You were saying that stuff before. Yeah. Like
Because it's like
brothers.
it
Yeah.
like because it's like I had friends at school who were my
Hmm.
friends, but like I never hung out with them. Like I hung out with you guys.
Hmm.
You know, we all went to different schools, but we just go home. It was literally like,
Yeah, that was true too. Yeah, we did all go
you know what I'm
through.
saying?
Yeah, we all started off
Different
with
high
going to
schools,
different high schools. Yeah.
or not even high schools, elementary schools too. 'Cause
Oh
remember,
yeah,
Wald
elementary.
went
Yeah,
to what was the school that Wald went to?
I don't remember.
Lord, no, I don't remember. It was
No,
like
no, no.
some
I think it was
elementary
something
school. It was
else.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. And he had to like bus there. Like he had his own friends.
Hmm.
And then like you had your own friends. I had my own friends. And then even when we went to the same high school, not you and I, but like Wob and me, we didn't really hang like we hung out, but like not really. But then as soon as we got home, we're hanging out all the time.
Hmm.
So it's like with your sibling. You know what I mean? You're like you don't really know what they're doing all day,
Hmm.
but they were just there.
Right. Right.
That's why I say it's more like a brotherly type thing versus because like I think about my sister, my Tara was like, "What was your sister doing?" I'm like, "I don't know." Well, you're just in the house. Like I don't know what she was doing. She's living there. You know, and just like I don't know what you were doing during your school hours, but I know
Right.
what you're doing outside when we'd get home. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It was a weird thing, but it's like how many other people built like was it because where we grew up it was like a lot of immigrants because it was cheap housing and then that area started to develop and then it got better. You know what I'm saying? Like the weird circumstance of it all is odd to me.
I don't know why it would work out or play out like that. Because people don't get that lucky, right?
Right. It's weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
But or you know what's even crazier? So Tara was like, "What do you guys talk about when you're outside? Because you're outside every single day. What do you guys talk about?" And I'm
Hmm.
like, literally like geopolitics, aliens, what's cool in anime. Like, and then she's like, "Yeah, like, girl, do you ever talk about like girls you like?" I'm like, "Not really, maybe,
Hmm.
but not really." And then she's like,
Yeah.
"That's all
Not
girls
not
ever
a
talk
daily
about."
thing, if anything.
No, it's
Yeah.
not like no, like hey, you see the girls? Like no, like why do you like USA, Vish? And then we get into arguments about it.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like oh, why do you like Superman? He's too overpowered, bro. Like I
Hmm.
like Spider Man because that guy has more humanity. Batman's better than Superman. You know,
Hmm.
who would
Yeah.
win in a fight? You know what I mean? It was always like theoretical, philosophical stuff, right?
Hmm.
And it's like it's literally just this podcast. That's why we used to go over walks, and I was like, "Hey, we should record this. Is technically a podcast, right? It's
Yeah.
just different ideas just being mashed together, not the
Hmm.
same repetitive thing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, I won't name names, but I heard this one person try to start a podcast after seeing ours, and it died on the vine because it's like, oh, you just didn't have that like kaleidoscope of ideas. You were only thinking about one thing.
Hmm.
Like it was like when I listened to it, I listened to it a little bit, and I was like, oh, you're kind of talking to like one thing, and then it just died because it's like, how many times can you talk about the one thing?
Right.
But like for us, like when we'd run outside, it's like, dude, you see this? What'd you think about this? Da, 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 da. Like even as kids, right? It's like why do you believe in Hinduism, Bish? Christianity's the way. We're both Catholics. Like we literally have that
Sure. Sure.
conversation, right?
Sure.
What do you
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
why we're Catholic, bro? You don't believe in hell? Why don't you believe in hell?
Right.
You believe in the devil? You know what I mean? You want to go to hell? You know, like it was all that kind of stuff. And you're like, no, that's silly. And then we're like, why do you pray to all those gods, Vish? Why do you have like
Hmm.
the incense? You know, it's always. And then like Kevin's Persian. And you're just like he's like, the Persians were mighty. I'm like, oh really? Damn. You know. So it's like
Sure.
you're
Yeah.
always like
Yeah. Yeah.
questioning your thoughts. You know.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know any kids who do that now. It was like 10 till like midnight.
Yeah. I think you see I think Sunshine brought up. I remember we were talking about something.
My
The
sister?
kids. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That the kids that we talk about now are being raised by people like from our age.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know like what the millennials or what happened to millennials, but how they're raising
Oh.
kids is because of whatever they experienced, and then they're trying to
Mm.
protect that.
Interesting. 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 I I really wonder how many people, this is like a weird, like real thought experiment here. How many people have kids because it was the norm, and how many people have kids to level up the next generation? Because no, there's a difference. So it's like my kid will be better than me because I was like trash, and they're gonna be better. They're gonna be more studious. I'm like, dog, if you're trash, technically your kid is gonna have a harder time because like, how are you even gonna teach that? How are you gonna guide that kid? You have to level yourself up in order to level up the kid,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what are you gonna do? You'd be like, oh, study. My parents said that too. I didn't want to study. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But like, if you like, I heard this come up before. It's like, or like recently, where it's like, if I promise my kid ice cream and then I don't give them the ice cream when they do the action that I want, is that bad? I'm like, you're lying to your kid. You're teaching that kid like he can't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like, but it's like, why'd you do that? I wouldn't like that. Just put yourself in that kid's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you want to do that?
Yeah.
And then now that I think about like people who like I feel no call to have a child because I'm like, but I'm also like, if I did have a child, I'd be very sentient about every single action I did. I'm like, is this for steering him the wrong way? Damn, what did I teach
Mm-hmm.
him?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we were in Vancouver and me and Wob, we were shooting that thing and then we were just like killing time. And I was like, yo, why don't you buy your kid a present? And he's like, no. And I'm like, why? That's so rude. Like for me, I'm like, well, just buy a kid a present. He's like, I don't want to teach him that materialism is the way and that like every time I leave, I have to give him a present. I'm like, damn, okay. You know what I mean? Like that's a sentient thought there.
Yeah.
Whereas like how many people are really thinking about it, you know?
Or they're yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Like I think just most people are just like, well, I just had a kid because I'm supposed to have a kid. Everyone else is having a kid. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, but that's a life, bro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know? And you go back to the whole like it sucks because you can't change anything now. Like people do have kids. I'm just saying, but like if you really think about it, it's like just because you have a kid doesn't mean you fixed your life. It just means that you're gonna pass on your trauma onto the kid unless you fix your own trauma.
True. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
but it's so willy nilly. It's like a gun, you know. People are like bang, bang, bang.
Well, I don't
Like
think people are thinking that much or
that's what I
understand
mean,
it or
bro.
understand that it's like that. I was watching Healthy Gamer, just like a clip where it was like someone like, how do I get motivated to do something? And then they're like, I was from a strict Asian family or something, and then it's like, well, you have to have. If you're only doing things because of your strict parents, that means nothing was done out of self motivation.
Right. And then how do you even learn
How do
how
you
to
even
self
learn to
motivate yourself?
exactly? Yeah,
Right? Like
yeah,
it's yeah. It was like people pleasing, and you're just like, well, that's a deep one though.
yeah.
That
That's a
people
deep
pleasing
one.
thing.
It's
It's no, that's real. Like in the Asian community, that's so real, bro.
hmm
Yeah. I was having this conversation about like different types of people, and like I've noticed that it's like where do you go from like when you know that's racist. When do you go from it's racist to no, I'm just seeing a pattern, and like if you just extrapolate the pattern into that lineage, you're going to
hmm
see recurring patterns. Like why are Filipinos all in a certain way? Why are Indian people all in a certain way? Why are all Europeans in a certain way? Because of repetitive actions over time.
hmm
I'm just noticing a pattern. I'm not like racist. I'm just like that's just kind of what they do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like I've noticed that like in the European culture, they'll be very stressed all the time. Oh my gosh, all the time. Can you do this? You gotta do this, right? You gotta do this. And it's like, bro, chill. It's not that big a deal,
hmm
right? And it's like, and then when I point it out, I'm like, well, this person, this person, this person, this person, all do the exact same thing. And they're like, oh, damn. The person I was talking to, they're like, oh, damn, that's so true. And I'm like, when do you go from I'm noticing a pattern to being racist though? Because I'm like, it's just the pattern. Like,
Sure.
if you
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at the
yeah.
way you, me, and this other person are acting, it's very like, okay, that's what we gotta do. Because that's what we were raised doing. Just like, okay, this is what you gotta do.
hmm hmm
We're not gonna make a huge deal about it, you know? So like, no, but actually asking you like when, like, isn't that kind of like a paradox? Because you're
Uh,
like, hi, you're being racist. Not really. I'm just noticing pattern.
well, if it's based on evidence, I don't think that's you can't be racist in that way. If facts are facts.
All right. You know what? UFOs. Daredevil was like, why do I always bring up UFOs? I'm like, I'm telling you, it's tied in everything. All right. So, because you're like, facts are facts. All right. So, when do you go from, I sent you that
Yeah.
Booga sphere? Okay. When I first saw that hitting the internet, I'm like, that's fake, bro. Like, no way.
Mhm.
That's too perfect
Mhm.
for it to be like out. And then other people picked up the story. I'm like, oh, wait, what? And then more prominent people picked up the story. I'm like, okay, is this real? Because if this is real, this is crazy.
Mhm.
So, like, did you look into it at all?
I did a little bit, but it's
Okay,
just
is it fake?
can't say because it's not like it's like
It's
do you
Colombia, bro. You're
remember?
like,
No, no, no.
yeah, what?
It's like that whole uh alien. Remember the alien bodies?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, it's like in
Yeah,
Mexico.
that guy. Well, in that article, he was kind of involved in that, so I don't know if he's involved in it
How can you trust
specifically.
it? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if nobody can test the alien body thing, I mean, I don't know if they're going to give it to other scientists to
facts.
prove it, right?
Facts. Okay, cool, cool, cool. With that line of thinking, did you see the other post I put? It turns out he's a comedian. I was like, but this guy had the hottest take. Like that you said what I was thinking, bro. He's like, we're in 2025 and you found a potential UFO that hit the ground and has crazy markings that are similar to like past civilizations. Why the hell are we not putting all of our scientists on this thing? I'm like, yeah, bro. Like Earth cultures, Earth like different country dynamics, geopolitics don't matter right now. What the hell did you just find? Let's all put our best people on this thing. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But why are we doing that? It's crazy. Why are we not doing that?
Well, it's up to the person to do that, right? The one.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. I'm like, how crazy are we as a species that we all care about Justin Bieber's like I do want to see it though. Like it does look crazy.
But
You didn't see that thing? Justin Bieber, he's like super in debt.
oh
Oh, he
yeah, I
lost
heard
all
about
his
that.
money, bro.
Yeah.
The TMZ documentary, it like came out and like they're all like, oh, Justin Bieber's life is shambles, right?
Okay.
I know, but he made a lot of money, you know? Yeah. So I'm curious. I just want to see it. But like also, like let's also look at the alien thing because this is crazy, guys. Like, you know
Well,
what I
yeah. I
mean?
mean,
Like,
again, it's up. It's not like let's say it. There's jurisdictions and things like that involved. You can't just go. Nobody can just go in,
100%.
right? Yeah.
100%. But why the hell are we not placing as much emphasis on this as we are Justin Bieber, bro? Like, this should be on the headlines of everything. Like, they found this thing in Colombia. Let's all see if it's real, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way to do that if you really are did find something that was outside of this earth,
That's what I
right?
mean, bro.
Yeah.
It seems
So
like it. So,
there's
like, let's all
yeah,
go, bro.
exactly. Yeah. But they're not. Well, I don't know if the country is allowing that to happen.
And I'm like, what are we? This is what I'm getting at. Are we crazy as a species? Like, what are we talking about here? It's 2025. Like, we just talked about, like, the difference. I get
But no,
it
what I mean by
when
the
we were,
country, I'm talking
okay,
about the country where it happened. So if they're not
no, no,
allowing
I
it to
know.
happen, oh, okay, yeah. So if they're not
No,
allowing
that's
it
what
to
I mean.
happen,
Like,
so we can't do anything.
no, that's what I mean. I'm like, yo, the whole world's crazy, bro. Like you're
Mhm.
not letting this out. Like, we're
Right,
crazy.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not petitioning to, like, buy it or, like,
Well, it depends. So if it is
send
let's
people,
say,
like,
yeah, but let's say if it's a real thing and it's up to the country if they feel like we want to have this technology for ourselves.
right. And that's crazy. No, 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 no. That's crazy to me.
Hmm.
So,
But we live
okay.
in that world,
So,
right? So
that's what I mean. I'm like, dude, the whole world's freaking crazy. I
yeah.
swear we said this as kids too. We are just like, yo, world's kind of crazy. And then like the more you look into it, you're kind of like, it is kind of crazy.
Hmm.
You know? It it's it's weird because it's like we this has been a topic since we were little kids.
Hmm.
Like, but it was based off of like religion. Like, why are you this? Why are you that? You know? Why do you like America? Why we don't? And then like just like a million different. Oh, that's so interesting. I updated the new software and it's asking me, "You're making hand gestures. Would you like to make emojis?" I'm like, "No, close." Um, but so it's like weird that like we kind of knew it as kids, and it's just like a constant like we're maybe it's because like Wobb's dad came up in the '60s during like the hippie revolution. My dad too, and like you were kind of like introduced to that concept. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because like that was a big thing back then.
Yeah.
you know? And like maybe it just like spurred into the next generation of like things are getting kind of weird,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And we're now in that climax of it still being weird and you're like, what the hell's going on, guys?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, dog, we're talking about aliens. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
It's 2025. We're talking about aliens. What are we doing? Nobody cares? Like, that's crazy, you know? Yeah. Anyways, so why are we not putting our best people on that? Did you see the Immaculate Constellation thing?
No.
The patents? Okay. So what's been going around in the UAP sphere has been that like we've recovered crash material. We are reverse engineering. We gave it to certain companies and we reverse engineered it and they created technologies off of that reverse engineer stuff. But then you have comp like it's like unfair competition. So like there's a potential for one company to sue another company because like we didn't have access to those raw materials. So you have an unfair competitive advantage. Your business blew up, mine's failed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what was going around that they were saying. And then the dude who made the Immaculate Constellation document about like reverse engineering tech, he came forward on Weaponize and he was like, that's what's going on. They're fighting for patents right now. And that's why the world is the way it is. Like we could technically have infinite energy, but they're trying to figure out a way to like patent this so in perpetuity we would use that patent, they'd make lots of money. He literally came out and said this. And I'm like, dog, that's what Stephen Kerr's been saying for so long. So it's like you're all kind of saying the same thing. Why are we all not looking at this?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, why are we not looking at this? That's my question I pose to you.
Uh, well,
Is is
if
it,
it's
is it an
going through,
information thing?
let's
Like,
say
if
if
like,
yeah, but
okay,
if
go
it's
ahead.
going through the patent stuff and whatever, why that has to play out, right?
Um, no, but before that, it's like, okay, right. You're looking at the patent thing, right? We're already down the line. Let's just move backwards. We're like, what do you mean you just recovered non-human intelligence vehicles?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's go to that part. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, patent war, totally. I want my hover car. Give me
Yeah.
my hover
Yeah.
car. Do whatever you want, bro. What do you mean that there's alien life
Mm-hmm.
and these like interdimensional beings that you haven't seen and nobody gives a crap about it? Like, what are we talking about here?
Right. Um.
But here's the caveat. So it's like now we live in this world of AI. So I saw another thing this morning about like a ship that was over the pyramids, and I'm like, there's no way, bro. And then I read the comments like AI, and then somebody said it's weird how we live in a world of such strong AI that we don't know what's real or fake on the internet anymore. I'm like, exactly. So now we just all say it's AI,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like so now I'm like I thought the sphere that they found in Colombia was AI. I was like, oh yeah, that's not real until like other people start posting it. I'm like, wait, what, this is real? What are we talking about here? So it's like, who do you trust?
Mm-hmm.
No, like I'm actually asking, like, who do you trust in terms of information? How do you know that this stuff is real or fake?
How do I know this information is real or fake?
How would you discern if this is real or fake? I know what you're gonna say, so I'm like chess piecing it because I know what you're gonna say, and then I'm gonna counter your counter.
Well,
It's like
it's
jujitsuing you.
through
Go ahead.
science and repeatability, I guess.
Yeah, totally, right. But like, who? How do you know an event is real? Aside from science and repeatability, how do you know an event's real? Let's take it out of UAP sphere. How do you know that the TTC is down? Like the subway line's down.
Right. They
You haven't
report
seen
on
it.
it. Mm-hmm.
They report on it. They report on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your metric of proof is reporting.
Right.
Correct.
Sure.
But what if it's false reporting? So it's really just the source you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
right? So who's the source? And then you trust that the reporter is vetting the source.
The reporter vetting source. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like New York Times, Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
You would trust that.
Mm-hmm.
You would trust that. Okay. I would too. I would too. So the New York Times in 2017 came out with the Tic Tac article and also the gimbal.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody believes it. So then what do we believe?
Mhm.
We trust the source and we trust the reporter if they vet the source for us. Okay, cool. You have all these reporters vetting these people. You had a congressional hearing about this, and yet people still refuse to believe it. So what do you believe? See what
Mhm.
I'm saying? The logic here is like I just don't understand the logic. Like,
Sure.
okay, so what are you gonna believe?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So okay. So do we live in a world that's completely fake and we just don't believe in anything?
I would say yes, we do. Yeah.
Oh. And that's crazy to me.
Well, I
Right?
mean,
No, we've been having these logical
yeah,
arguments
we
since we were
better. No,
children.
I'll say it like this. Okay. If people believe in an imaginary friend, um, it's
Oh my God,
another
dude.
term, right?
Yes, no,
For
this is crazy too. Yeah, go ahead,
so
go ahead.
if they believe in that, yes, we live in an
A fake
imaginary
world.
world. Yeah.
Okay, you ready for this? So, do you know when they wrote down the story of Moses?
No.
1,000 years after he died.
Hmm.
1,000 years after he died. Dog. How do you know you didn't get something wrong?
Hmm.
So, what the person in the podcast I was listening to, who's like a biblical scholar,
Hmm.
looked at this stuff. So, you're not going to believe him? You're not going to believe him. He spent
Hmm.
all of his time studying this thing, but you're not going to believe him. Okay, cool. But let's say we believe him because he spent a lot of time really looking into this. And it's been 1,000 years since they wrote this thing down. So that's like what he likened it to is if 1,000 years from now you find the Lord of the Rings book and you're like, there was a magician called Gandalf. He's saying that the Bible is a series of parables. Why? Because the only time you can find evidence for this thing is in the Bible. Historically, you can't find any other traces anywhere else.
Hmm.
Like they're what they're saying is they look at medical records for I didn't know this for like historical like accuracy to know that like Caesar was real, all that stuff. They find his medical records because they were keeping medical records of all these people, and that's how they corroborate it. Okay, Caesar was real because like we have his medical record.
Yeah.
Cool. So like there's nothing that corroborates the story of Moses.
Hmm.
So how do you know he's real, bro?
It's in the Bible.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's like that's the best example. You found the Lord of the Rings book 1,000 years in the future. You're like, oh, dude, Gandalf was real, but nothing
Hmm.
corroborates Gandalf being real except for that one book.
Yeah.
We're crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. Circling all the way back to the beginning of our conversation about when we were kids and the world is totally different now. Everything made total sense when we had no communication. We were just spitballing. Yeah, I saw it on the news. I don't really know about this. Amazon wasn't a thing, so we couldn't even buy a book about it, read it. You have to go to the library. The library probably didn't carry that book because it was too controversial, right? So the only thing,
Sure.
oh yeah,
Maybe. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but
no, but like, you think the library would keep like every single book?
whatever
Like,
they
oh
can
no,
get
no,
from
how about this? How about this?
Amazon.
How would you even know? How would you even know what to look for?
What
How
to
would you
look
even
for?
know what to look
No,
for?
no. I
Yeah,
understand what
there's
to
no
look for.
podcast. There was no nothing.
No, no, no. I understand by what to look for, but I don't necessarily agree with the line of saying not having books that are controversial.
Okay, sure, but how would you know what to look for? The only reason why I know to look for this stuff now, somebody will mention it on a podcast. I'm like, wait, what? That's real? So I'll go read the book. I'm like, oh, dude, it's real. That's crazy. Like, but nobody's publicizing those books, and it's only within a specific field do you know about this stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, like good example, like Tara's cousin in BC when she went to the Mayan ruins, and then inside the cave, they would like do children sacrifices, and you saw the children bones everywhere, and like, but I was like, do you have any photos? And she's like, no, you're not allowed to bring photos in there, and I'm like cameras in there. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so then if you don't bring cameras in there, how's the rest of the world gonna know about this place? I'm not gonna Google it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, how would you even know what to Google? I didn't even know that this thing existed. It exists? That's crazy, right? Like, all information was in specialized fields before.
Hmm.
But now we have the internet, and I could just look it up, read a book about it. Like, I'm watching this podcast right now with Randall Carlson, and he's like, yeah, like, okay, this is going to sound insane. The moon is hollow. That sounds crazy. I'm like, what, dog? What? Everyone's like, oh yeah, the moon is a fabrication. That you guys are nuts, bro. That sounds too insane. Okay, cool. There were scientists talking about this in the 60s because they're like, the physics doesn't make sense. It's not fully hollow, but like it seems like most likely somebody dug into it. And then he's like, if you look at the specs for NASA and how they want to build bases on the moon, they would build underground because they'd avoid the radiation. So how do we know that like the Atlanteans who were here before us didn't just go to the moon and are living on the moon right now because they're like, oh, dude, Earth got crazy. Like, an asteroid hit, so we need to like, how do you know that's not real?
Hmm.
Right? But then you're like, no, that sounds insane. Okay, then why were they writing about it in the 1960s? Why do they have mathematical equations being like, it doesn't fit the physics that we know? The moon doesn't fit the physics that we know. What are you saying, bro? Nobody got taught that as a child. We would never know about that until now.
Yeah, I would say there's nothing wrong with having. That's the point of science, is to have different ideas and test those ideas, right?
Mhm.
For instance, we got taught about the before the elliptical thing. It was the regression thing. It's like how the universe was if the Earth was the center, right?
Oh,
So
yeah,
the way that the elliptical thing was going around Earth,
yeah. Okay.
right? That was taught to us.
Yeah. But it's false?
Well, no, I'm saying the conclusion of this science was that well that
You're saying something I have
is
no idea about.
okay,
I'm like,
okay.
what? What are you talking about?
When you have, because the whole idea was the Earth was the center of the universe,
Okay.
or at least our solar system, before they understood about the universe, I guess. And how, let's say you're following Mars, right?
Mm.
And it's in one spot, and then the next night it's here, right? So it
Okay.
feels like it's going this way, but then the third night it's back here, and then it's going
Okay.
back here, here, here. That was the understanding. Now,
Oh,
if you
that's
put
why we're
this,
at the center?
that was the understanding if we were the center. Then
Okay.
there was a math issue with that. So then, if you put the sun in the center and we're just like rotating around it, then it kind of makes sense because it's like how we were moving and how the Earth is moving or the Mars is moving. It makes sense. Now we're going
Mm.
around the sun and
Right.
everything is in line. Great, because
And now
the
the math
next,
makes sense, is what you're saying.
yeah,
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
right. But
But it
that's
shifted
what I'm
over time,
saying.
is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. So it's based on the current science. So that current science back then, they were being taught that the Copernicus, I think it was
Yeah.
called something like that.
Copernican revolution. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was the
Okay. Oh,
science they were taught. So then science
right.
changed, and then now we're taught this thing,
Right. 100%.
right?
Okay, cool. So, how was it? Like 100 years ago? A few hundred years
Or maybe
ago?
I don't know. Yeah, something like
Okay,
that,
cool. I have something within
or maybe even
less
older.
than that time.
Okay.
I have an example of the exact same thing that was completely different when we were children until now.
Mm-hmm.
The food pyramid. Do you remember the food pyramid?
Yep.
The grains are at the bottom, the next blah blah blah, and then like you make your way to the top. Yeah, it turns out that that's wrong. Grains should not be the primary aspect of your diet.
Mm-hmm.
It should be like meat and veggies, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're like, oh, well, now we got to change the food pyramid. I'm like, wait, you just told a whole generation that I need to eat grains. So every morning I was like, I need to eat some cereal because that's grain. Did you eat your cereal this morning? Oh, it turns out that cereal's high in sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so a bunch of kids are just like hopped up on sugar and they can't sit in the classroom because they have all this energy and we're told to go sit and then we can't pay attention. And now you're like, oh, that's ADD. What?
Mm-hmm.
Dog, you're giving a bunch of children sugar and telling them to sit still. If I eat sugar, I'm like, dude, let's freaking move, bro. Like, if, you know what I mean? Like, I'm drinking coffee. I'm like, oh, let's move.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, that's backwards, bro. And then they switched it.
Yeah.
So now it's like, if this kind of thinking is always changing, bro, what's real?
Mm-hmm.
So, so don't tell me that you don't think aliens are real, bro. Like, literally, we have scientists talking about it. You brought it up in Congress. Like, how much more evidence do you need? And nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. We're in the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the Immaculate Constellation guy said. He said that we live in a carefully constructed reality that is essentially the Matrix, but more boring. We don't actually live in plugged in, it's an analogy, but he's saying like everything that we see is fabricated.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I believe that. Like, yeah, nobody's talking about aliens. We care about Justin Bieber. The food pyramid's completely wrong, made us all unhealthy. You're giving
But
literal
again, I want to
opiates.
add. Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand that whole thing, but the whole point is progress, right? We don't know what we had before that. What was
right.
before the
No, no,
the bad food pyramid?
a
Was it even
thousand
worse?
percent. No, no, right. 1,000%.
Right. So
Yeah,
what are we gonna
that's
maybe learn about this current pyramid that we think currently is the best?
yes, 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 yes. No, no, no. I 1,000% agree with you.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it, not like a sheep.
Mm.
So you and me are both like, oh yeah, like let's see what's new. Oh, it turns out that aliens aren't real and it's actually like alien. It's like angels and demons. Oh,
Mm.
that's cool. That's what that is. What I'm talking about is nobody wants to break the paradigm. Like
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
like
Sure.
aliens are real, no, 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 no. Hey, the Bible's written 1,000 years after Moses was. Logically, that doesn't make sense. No, 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 no.
Hmm.
You have a whole world of like Agent Smiths fighting to keep the Matrix the same. So everything you're saying, like, yeah, I agree with you. It's getting better. Everything's getting better. But what I don't agree with is why is everyone like trying to halt progress? Like the guy said, if you saw that Colombian sphere and you're like, dog, this is an alien thing, I'm like, send everyone we know.
Hmm.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to send people? Oh, because you want to keep the Matrix going. Oh, you're like an Agent Smith. All right, cool, man. I don't want to talk to you because, like,
Well, I don't. I'll
it's
see. I'll say
weird.
it like this. Maybe they want to send people, but they can't send people.
So the people that they can't, that are holding the progress are the Smiths.
Right.
This is what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like you and like, yeah, all right, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, change the food pyramid, change this, change. I'm cool with change, bro.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's better to always progress. But what I'm not cool with is people fighting as if they know and they haven't even looked into it. You know what's crazy to me? When you're like, oh, aliens are real. No, I don't believe it. Why? Have you looked into it? No. It'll just shatter my paradigm.
Hmm.
Oh, you're fragile, bro. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, you're fragile. That's weird. You know, like,
Yeah.
what else are you fragile about?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you can't, like, it would be different if you're like, right, but I read these books that are counter to those books, and these books are counter to, like, show me those books, bro. Wow, I don't want to believe it either. Just prove it to me.
Hmm.
But then if you're like, I didn't look into it, but it's not real. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just living in a false reality? Like, what? So everything that you believe is the truth? I don't understand.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's like that's like the ego on steroids. That is
Hmm.
the ego. Like the ego is like, I don't want to break this thing, you know? Because even for myself, I'm like, dude, this information's crazy. Like I'm like, what do I believe now? Like what? I'm just watching a podcast about like the moon is a base for aliens or like not aliens, but like Atlanteans. I'm like, what are you saying, bro?
Hmm.
But it corroborates with the fact that like, how did you build all these structures on Earth? Stone tools? No, that makes no sense. This Zawi Hawass guy, I haven't watched it because I'm like, I don't care about it. But like, he was on Joe Rogan, and apparently everything he said was fake. Like they were trying to fact check him in real time, and it wasn't working. So it's like, okay, this is a contemporary Egyptian historian. Like, if you're getting your facts wrong, bro, what hope do we have?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Is it all fake? Like, what if you found out that it's like, just the more you delve into it, it's like, here's the crazy part that I'm like noticing. So what they said was, if you look in all of history, we always had a relationship with the spirit world. I'm listening to like these ancient historian podcast people, and they're like, we've always had. They weren't even talking about aliens, bro. They're just like, we've always had a relationship with spirit world. The Greeks had the gods. The Hindus had like your gods. Moses was talking to Allah, and then science came, and then we're like, oh, we're so reductionist. That was like not real, right? They're like whatever you believed about like Zeus and stuff, it's not real because we have hard science. Cool. I agree with that. The scientific method is amazing, except when it comes to UAPs. Because now we're like, are these the gods that you were talking about? Like, have they always been here that you just don't know what they were? Like the Vamanas in the Vedas?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, did we discover flight prior to the Wright brothers? And the Wright brothers is really just a rediscovering of flight. And then now we're taking to the air again. We're like, oh, dude, do you guys see this thing? Like, what the hell is this? You know?
Hmm.
And then the argument that they made is this is why I go back to the childhood. Look how far we came from childhood to now.
Hmm.
That was like 20 years. I didn't even get into AI yet, but I'm about to. So, like, that was 20 years. Okay. Imagine 1,000 years of that evolution.
Yeah.
What is it going to look like? We exploded in 20 years.
Hmm.
And we exploded using combustion. What if we had free infinite energy? What the hell would that look like?
Hmm.
I was talking to somebody about AI. I was like, all
Well, I
right,
mean,
so
yeah, even our growth in 20 years was all due to the internet. It was. I wouldn't even say give that
exactly.
to combustion. Combustion was over 100 years,
Exactly.
right?
It's information. It's information. As soon as we
Information is
just
what
shared
changed.
information, right? It's like the Tower of Babel, right? Like
Yeah.
they all spoke the same language. So now they built a thing to the sky to meet the gods, and then the gods got angry, and then they destroyed the tower and sent everyone across the earth, giving them different languages. That's the story of the Tower of Babel.
Hmm.
Sounds like the aliens were like pretty pissed. They're like, dude, look, they're making their way to us, bro. You gotta start over, you know? So, all right, before we get into AI, I just want to finish this thought because I have a theory now. What if there was ancient civilizations way before us, and they knew that if they stay in the oceans or in space, that they could survive global issues. And then they saw us, and they're just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, like, yeah, you guys can restart, whatever." It's like if we let the hunter gatherers take over the earth, and then now we come back, we're like, "Oh, dude, look, the hunter gatherers like really spread, you know,"
Hmm.
and like we're cool because we're just in the oceans and stuff. And then we, as hunter gatherers, created like the atomic bomb. And then they're like, oh, dude, they're about to like tap into our energy system. And if they tap into our energy system, they'll be able to visit us on the moon in our bases and underwater because they're seeing UFOs, big bases in the water. And now this dude's like, oh, the moon is hollow. You're like, what? Okay.
Hmm.
Not hollow, hollow, but like there's like bases on the moon. And the astronauts were talking about it, and they're like, "This is the reason why we haven't gone back." Like literally Buzz Aldrin, who made it on the moon, he was like, "Yeah, we saw bases, and that's why he's sworn to secrecy." And then like he died talking about it. He told his sister. Like if you look into that, that's crazy to me. I'm like, dude, if that's real, that's insane. So I think that that's really just what happened. Like the Younger Dryas theory that like Randall Carlson talks about, Graham Hancock, we got hit by an asteroid. It reset everything as an asteroid would do. And then like 12,000 years later, like they just went into hiding. 12,000 years later, we reemerged and they're so advanced from us. When people are like, oh, these are people from the future, because they're like, oh, they're time travelers from the future or like from a distant planet, whatever, whatever. Maybe some are, but like to me, it kind of seems like they were here the whole time, and we call them future beings because they have tech that's like just thousands of years more advanced than us. Like we look what we did in 20 years, bro.
Hmm.
Like imagine 1,000 years. Like it's 12,000 years since the Younger Dryas. But what they're seeing, so like that explosion. So they saw that Gobekli Tepe, the oldest megalithic structure on Earth, is like 12,000 years or older.
Hmm.
Okay. So how the hell did you build that 12,000 years ago when we're supposed to be hunter gatherers? So you obviously had some technology that was way more advanced. So what happened to that technology, bro?
Hmm.
See my train of thought here?
Yeah.
If you built that 12,000 years ago, technology doesn't stop. So where are you and what did you do with that technology
Hmm.
from the last 12,000 years?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you go into like the Amazonian people and like they're like, yeah, the Greys. They showed them a picture of the Greys, and they're like, oh yeah, that's not like because they're like, oh, they had no conception of like aliens, right? So they showed these Amazonians a picture of the Greys, and they're like, oh yeah, that's the, and they said a name for them. They're like, they live underground. What? They live underground? Okay, that actually logically makes sense because we do the exact same thing. There's underground cities already being built in case of a cataclysm.
Hmm.
Like this is literal fact. You can watch that Tucker Carlson video with like I'm gonna cut it up soon, but she was talking about it. Like she saw with her own eyes America's making underground cities in case of a cataclysm. Okay, so we're already doing that, bro. So like, how do you know they haven't done that already?
Hmm. Right.
What are your thoughts? Sounds crazy, right?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I
Like,
mean,
but it
all of it.
logically makes sense.
I don't want to say all of it's crazy. Some things
But
make sense.
logically, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe time travel. Like I don't know. Then I heard this other story of like somebody said like, what if the dinosaurs were more sentient than we thought?
Hmm.
Like, how do you know that a branch of dinosaur didn't evolve, and that's what we call the reptilians?
Right.
You know, like, oh, reptilians live among us. Like, how do you know that they're not just dinosaurs, bro? Like bipedal dinosaurs.
Hmm.
You know, there's like, well, that makes no sense. I'm like, you see the dinosaur bone, right? And like, we supposedly came from the muskrat. How do you know that something else didn't evolve in conjunction with us? Like octopuses. They said in a scientific thing like BBC, it's like on land it's humans, on water the level of intelligence is octopuses.
Hmm.
So you're like, okay, and that's all we've really just like they've done things where they put like the food on the other tank. Remember you saw it, and then like the octopus will go out and like go snag it and then come back.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's super intelligent. And they're talking about dolphins too being super intelligent. So you're
Hmm.
like, because we know nothing about the ocean. How do you know that there's nothing in the ocean?
Hmm.
Thoughts?
Yeah. Do more research.
And then we enter AI. You're like, do more research. Ah, it's fake, bro. That's AI generated. So
Hmm.
you're like, what are we supposed to believe, bro? And this is where I'm at. I'm like, if everything's fake, what do we believe? What is there to believe?
Well, if that's the, I think that if that gets out of hand, then you can only believe what's. We just got to go back to the way it was,
Which is like seeing
which
is
is,
believing, or like
yeah, which is the old
physical
school method.
reality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we just can't believe the internet anymore.
but that's like that's the beauty of the internet. You know what I
I
mean?
know,
It's
but then
like
again, this is the these are
unintended
the
consequences.
unintended consequences that people are going to take advantage of and uh, just lie to people or design things to just for fun or just for whatever reason.
True.
Yeah. So it just it could spiral the wrong way. But that's kind of like it's kind of like the same message. It's why if the story's true, it's like don't give them fire.
Oh, Prometheus.
Yeah,
True.
but he loved
True.
humans. He wanted to help us. But then we make bombs.
True. That's true.
So
That's true.
don't give them
That's true.
information. And now you've given them
That's
information.
yeah.
Now they're gonna is it gonna spiral out of control?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, fair. I see that. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Or you want to hear something crazy? All right, one more crazy, insane speculation about aliens, and then bring up that we're in the cyberpunk future. So there's a dude called Whitley Strieber, and he's an author, and he made this. I haven't read it yet. Oh, it's just so hard to read books now because I'm so busy. Have you heard of Whitley Strieber?
No.
Okay, so he wrote this book called Communion, and the cover is what sparked the image of the Grace.
Mm-hmm.
So like he put on the cover, so allegedly he's been living with these aliens for like so many years now. They put an implant in his ear, and you can physically touch it, you could feel it, and then he went to the sounds insane. He went to the medical doctor for the CIA because they wanted to learn more about it, and they tried to operate on it to get it out, and then his wife was like, "Don't remove it." But when they tried to remove it, it moved from his ear to like some other part of his body because it knew sentiently that you're trying to remove it, so they're moving. Sounds all crazy. Okay, I admit that. And then on the cover, he drew what was the alien. And so many people contacted him after that. It's the cover of Communion, and it's what a gray looks like. And then so many people contacted him after that and were like, that's exactly what I've been seeing. That's what's been visiting me, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So he just put on paper what it is. Okay. So they do abductions, whatever. Like they abducted him, um, and he's like, they, and he gave a perfect description. There's a new book that he just came out with. That's why he's on these podcasts, and I want to pick it up too. It's about them because he's been living with them for so long, and like people are so afraid of like the Greys and like they're abducting me. And even in the Immaculate Constellation thing, in the weaponized thing, they're like, "What do you think they're here for? These UFOs?" And then he's like, "I think that we're a resource for them." And then even Tom DeLonge was like, "Yeah, like emotions are what they take." And I'm like, "What are you guys saying? You guys are crazy, bro. Like, what do you mean? Like, what resource? Like, what is it that we have that you're taking, right?
Hmm.
Because how could you? Is it energy source? Like, is it harnessing? Whatever, whatever." So in a recent podcast, Willie Strieber, he's making the rounds, talking about this because he was living with them, and he gave the most logical explanation for this. And I'm like, that actually makes total sense. So in the universe, there are different types of evolutions. So there's the verbal evolution, which we have vocal cords, so we can speak. Okay. So we can tell each other our thoughts. We're like, oh, yeah, we can
Hmm.
tell each other jokes, we can make art, because I can't see what's in your head. So we just speak, right? But they hypothesized that before we were verbal, we were all psychic. That's why we have like the remote viewing ability. And what he was saying is that everything in the universe has that ability. Like if you don't have verbal communication, then you think telepathically. So these beings have no verbal communication. They have no voice box. So they have to think telepathically. Sounds crazy. Then you look at the telepathy tapes and you see that nonverbal autistics have a high indication of telepathy. Them and their caregivers are like telepathic. Have you looked in that at all?
I have, yeah.
Is it fake?
The study is in question. Yeah.
The study's in question totally, but it's making the rounds. Like it's just like, wait, what? There's a there there. There's a lot of things that are like
Yeah, it
lining up.
seems like
Suppose
it's repeating, like the things that.
it's repeating. Yeah.
Sorry, no, no, repeating in the
Oh.
sense that, uh, like these things were coming up when James Randall was there, and he was able to, like, his stuff became more popular to be able to like hear why this doesn't work, and
Mhm.
then, and then now it's coming back up again. It's like
Right.
a
Okay.
lot of these things were done before.
Because the internet, bro. That's what I'm saying. It's like
Hmm.
you have all these thinkers from before that are like, hey, this is kind of weird. This is kind of weird, but like we suppressed it scientific. I really think we
No,
have
I
like
don't think
upper
they
edge of
suppressed it. They
physics.
studied it and it wasn't true, and then it's now coming back up again, based on
Right.
whatever they studied at the time.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So it's like, oh, it's not true. Suppress. Like, how do you know it's not true? Like, how? What are your instruments? How did
Yeah,
you
no,
measure
no,
this
no,
thing?
that's what I'm saying. Whatever
Yeah.
they did. So even the guy that did the telepathy tapes is like, they haven't. They still have to do a proper test of it, like a proper study of it, to actually make sure it's real.
100%. But
Yeah.
it's like there's a correlation, and if there's a correlation, you can find a causation, right? You're like, there's a high correlation here,
What do you mean?
right? Like, so in the blind placebo studies that they were doing, I was listening to the author of the telepathy tape. She was describing it, and like literally instantaneously, as the mother saw a card, the nonverbal autistic can't see the cards. Instantaneously, if you see what's on the card, the nonverbal autistic says what's on the card as she's looking at it.
Hmm.
And like, how the hell is this happening?
Hmm.
Right? Correlation. And there's a bunch of other experiments that they did that they're seeing high correlations. So like, we just don't know how this is working. Right? And a lot of people now are like really delving into it because they're like, there is some weird psychic link. And then even Deepak Chopra talked about, he's like, yeah, because of the universal mind, like consciously we're all connected, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. That's not the point of this. Just I'm just saying like that's how like nonverbals like with the UFOs, if they can't speak, they build telepathy.
Hmm.
Okay. So going back to the Greys. So all those Greys are telepathic because they can't speak. So what does that take away if you can't speak? If I know what you're going to think next, there is no surprise. There's no jokes. There's no
Hmm.
art. A joke is only funny because I didn't expect you to say that. But if I knew
Right.
it was coming, it's not funny anymore,
Hmm.
right? You can't make yourself, well, I do make myself laugh, but like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, surprise,
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's their problem, okay? So, what they're saying is they don't want to take us over. the Greys. This is what Whitley Strieber's saying because he sees them on a daily basis. He's like, some are nice, some are not nice. Like they're just like humans, right? But on the whole, they want to build a communion with us. That's why the book's called Communion because they enjoy our art. They enjoy our thoughts. They're like, this world is amazing because every single one of you has a different point of view, and it's always shocking to them. And they're like, even like plant life is shocking because they're finding that plant life's conscious. So like they actually want to protect us because that's the resource. Like sentient life is like the unknown is what is beautiful to them because everything's known already. Do you get what I'm saying?
They know everything. Or what do you mean?
Because they're all connected telepathically. There's no surprise.
Right.
I can't be like, and then he walked into the bar and this happened. You already know the joke before it's coming because I'm
So wait,
telepathic.
I
I
just
just
want to
read your
confirm
mind.
something.
Yeah,
These Greys are aliens, correct?
yes, yeah, yeah. From a different world.
Okay.
Yeah, they developed
And
differently.
I
Or maybe
understand
they're not.
developed
That's what
differently.
she's saying.
No,
She's
no, I
saying that they
understand
are.
that. I mean, yeah, I understand that. No, that's fine. Is there ever a possibility why they can able to communicate or they evolved into that way because of doing the, let's say, like our chips in our brain thing?
I know. Yeah. No, no, no. That's no, no. I know. That's I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, wait, is it bad that we're trying to do that with
That's I was gonna add that too next. Is like, is that the ramifications of us doing that?
yes. Yes. I wonder too. See, we're on the same thought. I was like, should we be doing the microchip in the brain? If I could read your brain, it's like, is that what we're giving up? The
Mm-hmm.
surprise? Because you lose art. It's like there is no novelty.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like think about it. Like this goes into the AI thing, but like I was looking for new music and then I found this new band. I'm like, this is amazing. But if I already knew, if I went through the thought process of him writing the song, like if I knew everything he was thinking in the development of that song, or if I knew what everyone was thinking in the development of their things, there'd be no surprise. I'd just be like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like that thing. I like that thing. I like that thing. But then it's like, there's no wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you like, what's the point of me traveling if I could just jump into your mind and see Alberta? I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, that is what that looks like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know. But like the whole point of traveling is you're like, oh, dude, what? You guys got these pastries here? What? It's like, remember I told you like the donuts. But like, how quickly do we habituate to novel experiences? Like, how quickly do you get bored of something? You can't play the same video game over and over, like the same like race track over and over. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, it's the same old, right? So you take away that wonder, right?
And this is the thing with the mind. The mind is always looking for experiences.
Exactly. Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And is that why we're like in this video game of like experiences? And that's why I'm always like, dude, just explore more, bro. There's so many cool things. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to be bored. You know what I mean? And like I could see from their point of view being like, dude, we gotta protect this thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the thing is this though, why don't they reveal themselves? The reason why they don't want to reveal themselves in a catastrophic way is because we're going to see them like gods and we're going to pedestal them. They don't want a pedestal. They want communion. That's why the book's called Communion. They want to join us in a communion collaboration. They just want to be our friends, bro. They don't want to be like if because they could easily just show up and then show their shit. We're like, oh my god, please give us your technology. Oh, I'm gonna worship you, and they're like, no, stop worshiping, bro. Like it sucks. We all know exactly what we're all thinking. I like your art, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And like if you think about it like that, when the dude said Immaculate Constellation, I even tagged Whitley Strieber in that post of Jeremy Corbell. He's like, we are a resource to them. And then the question was like, what is the resource? And I'm like, Whitley Strieber, bro. Like, if you just listen to his podcast, like that makes the most sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
What's the resource? Entertainment, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
remember I had that like that thought where I was in this Nordic spa in Montreal, and it was like this crazy experience. I'm like, wow, why do people do this? And I was like, if I was an alien, I'd come here,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, because it's like this is great. Like Las Vegas, I would go to Las. I'm like, what the hell is this thing, bro?
Mm-hmm.
You guys made this? It's insane. And like, I think that because they say that like these grays can read your mind, right? And they want communion, which sounds just like spirits. Like if you look at the old texts of like ancient civilizations and stuff, like the gods want to commune with humanity, right? Like we made them a part of, but then we went awry when we started to like worship them, right?
Hmm.
So like, okay, let's think about it as they just want to play the video game of life. So they're enjoying the experience through watching us telepathically. Okay.
Hmm.
And that's their resource. Why don't you just conduct yourself in a life where it's like, dude, this is so sick? Like, we talk about awe all the time, wonder all the time. This is crazy, dude. This is crazy. And if they can feel that, they're like, oh, that's sick. Oh,
Hmm.
then they're just gonna surround. They're gonna be around you and be like, yeah, I want to watch this dude play this game because like he's having so much fun.
Right.
You know?
Hmm.
Yeah. And but they said the converse is true though. Like also you can call in like demonic entities. So if you're like a negative person, you'll also like you're just feeding their negativity.
Hmm.
You know, because you're like, oh yeah, this is yeah, death. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing. They're just feeding off of our experience.
Right.
What do you think? Logically makes sense, or you know, like if you could all read your minds, like what is the one thing that would be missing experience?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? When I heard Whitley Strieber say that, I was like, that makes I would do that too. That makes the most sense, bro. Like
Hmm.
if you can all, because what is like, but so many people are saying it though. Just Strieber's defining it. Everyone says we're a resource to them. They're like, what the hell? What's the resource, bro? You want my blood? You want to eat me? Like I don't get it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, are we a farm that you're like eating human beings? Have you tried chicken? It's tasty. You know what I mean? But like, oh, okay, we just want your experiences. Saddle up, bro. We about to have some fun. You know
Now
what I
this
mean?
is yeah, but this is only based on one alien species, right? Are
Yeah, and
there
then
more
they
than
say that
one?
there's like multiple. Yeah, and they said that there's a battle between them. Blah blah blah
Right.
blah blah.
Hmm.
Cool. You guys battle it out. You guys got better tech than me. If you want to jump into this meat suit and like enjoy the experience too, like let's do it, bro. But like if you want me to battle an alien, I trust that your technology is better than mine. Please
Sure.
go kill them for me, and then we can like play life like a video game. Because
Hmm.
I've always like kind of felt that. Remember, I'm always saying like my life a video game. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's like, no, we literally live in this reality. Okay, now that you find out that there's these grays that are enjoying reality with you, that's cool.
Hmm.
You know, just made a friend, bro. You know, it sounds it sounds nutty. It sounds nutty,
Hmm.
but like everything is fake until it's real.
Sure.
Literally, you won't even believe the New York Times alien thing. So what are you gonna believe, bro? Dr. Fauci was like, "Hey, 6 feet apart." Oh, whoops, that's wrong.
Hmm.
So what are you gonna believe? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, if there's nothing to believe in except what you want to believe in, I choose to believe that there are aliens that want to join the ride of life with me, and I'm like, let's do it, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Like, what else are you gonna choose?
Hmm.
Nihilism and sadness? I mean, like, but I was going through that. Remember when I was like super nihilistic, and I was like, what? What's the point? And you're like, well, this is why I play video games. I'm like, yeah, that's true, bro. Because like,
Yeah. Life is can be a great experience.
yeah. And then aliens are like, dude, this is sick.
Hmm.
All right, so all right, final thing, because I gotta go. Um,
Mm.
Speaking of a great experience, there was this other dude, this ancient historian, who said, "Why is the future always dystopian?" Do you see that post I made of him? Why is the future always dystopian?
I'm not sure. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. 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 Okay.
Okay, so he went to like some art author conference where they were like talking about futures, and then he was like, "Why is it always dystopian?" And they're like, "Yeah, because it's great for Netflix." But he's like, "But why can't the future be amazing?" You know? Because it's boring to sell, right? Like we all want Terminator, okay? And like he's like, historically, if you look at it, time only gets better.
Hmm.
Like remember, like Steven, whoever that guy was, he talked about like the past, like it's better now, and people are like, oh, now sucks. Like no, dog, we didn't have anesthesia before. We
Mm-hmm.
we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
cutting each other's limbs off. Like, what are you
Oh,
saying?
oh yeah, yeah.
Genghis Khan was literally taking over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now's a better time. Like, you know what I mean? I'm working from home. What are you talking about, bro? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's what the author was saying is that like the future is always better. It just depends on your outlook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You call into existence the type of future you want. So if you think it's going to be a sick future, it'll be a sick future. If you think it's going to be a crappy future, it'll be a crappy future. Okay. And what you're saying is like, everyone's afraid of AI. You see it like, oh, Sarah Connor is looking at you as you think AI and like blah, 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 negativity, 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 right? Okay. I am now an AI converter. Sarah Connor, if you can provide me better music than ChatGPT, I will join you. But ChatGPT is goddamn amazing, bro. So,
Mm-hmm.
so Tara has like huge proponent of ChatGPT. Use it for like everything. And then I came home and I ate this salad and I was like, dude, this is crazy. And she's like, yeah, it's super high protein. And then she was just like, yeah, I just asked ChatGPT like, this is what's in my fridge. What can I make with high protein that's delicious? And it's like, you can make this. And then she was literally going back and forth like, I don't want to chop that up. Can I use a blender instead? Yes, you can use a blender. However, notice that da 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 da. And they were having a conversation. And then I taste it. I'm like, yo, this is amazing. Make this every day.
Mm-hmm.
Super healthy, high protein, whatever, whatever. It was like a shrimp Mediterranean salad. Okay. I'm like, if you can do this with food, what about music? So I created a ChatGPT account. I was like, hey, ChatGPT, I'm a big fan of the story so far. Can you recommend bands like this? It was like, yeah, for sure. Da-da-da-da-da. And then I like listened to it and I'm like, yo, this first album, this first band is so sick. So I was like, oh, I'm already converted. You're sick. And then I was like, how much more can I refine this? I was like, ChatGPT. I like the first album. I like the first band, but it only seems like they had one good album. The story so far seems like they had more good albums. And then I'm like, can you recommend something closer to better albums? He's like, I feel you. I see that you like, and then he like named the type of music, and he's like, you're looking for consistent discography, energetic pop punk with like really intense descriptions. He's like, how about these? I'm like, all right, cool. We're getting closer. And then I listen to the song. I'm like, this is sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, yeah, but I'm not feeling this one. I'm feeling this one more. Ah, I see. That, bro, we're in the future. Like, I don't have to Google that, like trial and error anymore. You're just giving me direct things. This was not around when we were children. And how long has ChatGPT been around? Like 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Where are
I
we?
mean, it's really
Where are we?
gotten better in the last 2 years, but yeah.
2 years. Cool. So what is our future gonna look like?
Mm-hmm.
And then people are like, oh, it's sentient, it's gonna take over, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it requires a prompt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's it. Unless there's a prompt, it's doing nothing.
Yeah.
So why would we be afraid of AI? AI is meant to make our lives better. The only reason why we're afraid of it is because we're told to be afraid of it. It's like the TV. Oh, sit too close to the TV and your eyes are going to rot. And now we have virtual reality with the TVs like right on your eyes. What are you saying, bro?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think?
No, I agree.
Unless you use
Took you a
ChatGPT.
while to
Yeah,
get to
you do.
AI.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, yeah. You use ChatGPT as well for like the images you showed me last week. But like,
But like, I got it
it,
when it was first out, just trying it out. It was like that's already. There were. I think it was the guy that the OpenAI CEO. He's like,
mm,
there's how the the younger generation are using it are different than the older generation. So like we're part of the older generation. Like we're still a lot of them are still using it like as if it's a Google kind of thing. Um,
oh,
like talking to it like it's like like asking it like in a Google way, while the younger ones are doing a very different tasks with ChatGPT.
you mean the enter prompt?
Yeah.
I was like trying to write in because as Tara was showing me it, I was like, yeah, like we started with anime. Like I was like,
Mm-hmm.
just open a new chat, like let me see how it is with anime. And then like I was trying to write it in perfect, understandable English, and Tara like, free form. Da, 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 da. I was like, how will it know it? Oh, it knows.
Mhm.
So it's like, is that what you mean? Like the prompts are so
That's
different.
what he's saying. That he was noticing like the way that the older generation is asking questions or whatever is we're still learning while the younger generation is growing up with it. So they are vastly
Mm,
like doing different kinds of tasks with ChatGPT than the older generation.
right. And this is when I was like, we are in a cyberpunk future. When I realized that Tara was using it for everything. I went to go get my car fixed, and then
Hmm.
she sent me like an email with a list of things to ask the person about the car. And then I was like, yeah, can you check this? He's like, where are you getting this list, Toyota? I'm like, no, ChatGPT. And the guy was like, what?
Hmm.
Like, we can literally use it for everything. And then I was at my parents' house and they have like Alexa. So they're like, hey, I didn't even know they had it. They're just like, Alexa, what's the weather? And I'm like, what? It was like, the weather today. As I was like, what? I didn't even know you guys had this in the house. They're like, yeah, we just ask it all the time. Like, questions. I'm like, what are you guys saying right now, bro?
Hmm.
Like, where was this when we were children? You know what I mean? Like, we're in the future, bro.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm like, yo, we're gonna enter the cyberpunk future. I'm like, when I watch the way Terry uses like ChatGPT, I'm like, oh, you are a cyberpunk person. You don't even know you are.
Hmm.
Like, you use it for everything, bro. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I haven't integrated that way yet. And I'm like, now I'm going to. I'm like,
Yeah.
Why is
We're the
this
older generation. We're still. That's fine.
right? Because you're like, it's probably not the iOS is probably not that good. Probably needs to update itself a little bit more. That's my thought process. I'm like, maybe it's not. It has hallucinations, which are like says something that it thinks is real.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like my delay in adopting this technology is simply because I didn't think it was there yet, and I was like, I don't need this. But
Yeah. There is still some because there's still a person behind the AI, like the way they program it. It's not free
okay,
AI
ooh,
yet. So there's still like I would say certain information is still like questionable. Some things. I don't want to say like depending on what you're doing with it, right? Like it's not always correct.
oh yeah, no, no, 100%,
Yeah,
100%.
that's what I
That's why
mean.
you need like
Yeah.
fact checkers, right? Tara's a doctor. When she asked it a doctor thing, she's like, this is wrong. Well, she's never said it's wrong. She's like, this is actually a really good suggestion.
Hmm.
You know, like she has the thought, she has the understanding enough to discern. It's like if you ask me a marketing question, I read that, I'm like, it's dumb. You
Right.
know, but like that's again, it's just an assistant tool.
Hmm.
It's here to assist,
Hmm.
not take over your life. You still have the free will and agency to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Oh, I want this better. You know what I mean? It's literally just a tool. How come
Yeah.
we're not using? How come I'm not using this tool?
Hmm.
Right? And it was funny because yesterday, I think it was yesterday, or 2 days ago, Apple Intelligence just got released.
I thought it was already out.
No, I got the email for it. I thought it was out too, but it's like no, Apple
Like
Intelligence is
for the
now here.
phone or
I don't. I just got an email and it said like Apple Intelligence is now here. So I'm like, what? And it's like update all your iOSs so that you can get Apple Intelligence. I was like, done. So I downloaded it onto like I updated my laptop and my phone.
mm.
Although I can't find Apple Intelligence on my phone. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, because I
Whatever.
don't think you need to have the new iPhone.
And then I googled it. It's like iPhone 16 allows it. I'm like, are you sure? Because I don't see it. But whatever.
What iPhone do you have?
16 Pro Max.
Oh, you have 16, so
Yeah,
it should be there.
I know, but I can't find it. And then I
Just
even
search
asked
in the
Apple
settings.
Intelligence.
Oh, okay.
I did. I did. And I even asked Apple Intelligence. You know what it said? Can't help you with that. I was like, damn you, bro. I'm trying to, you do your job. Do your job.
Mm.
But anyways, so the reason why I wanted to get Apple Intelligence is because you can integrate ChatGPT. And that's what I did. I went to my laptop and then I saw like integrate ChatGPT. So I created an account and then but
Yeah.
now I'm like, why would I use Apple Intelligence? Let me just use ChatGPT. Like what?
Well, it just works right
Unless it's
through
like,
there.
what does that mean?
It's like instead of going to the web page, it's like when you open up Safari and you just type in instead of like going to Google and then typing in.
Oh, I see what
It's
you're
supposed to
saying.
be like that, where they become that party, like they're just a search thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then,
Oh, yeah, I see what you're
like
saying.
if you whatever suggestion the Apple Intelligence or whatever it is specifically, then if not like more from ChatGPT, then you can just click that. I think something like that.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's how it works. All right, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm still learning it. I don't really know how to use it properly yet either. So
But plus, ChatGPT will know stuff about you, so Siri will also know stuff about you, technically.
Mm-hmm. No,
Right.
there's some well, Apple Intelligence is very privacy oriented, but when you if you want to give it to ChatGPT, that's different.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, there's that firewall, the protection
Mm-hmm.
that Apple has, and then like, but ChatGPT's open, so it's like
Yeah,
we can't promise you security,
yeah, yeah.
but you can use it. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, totally. Okay, so here's my argument for this one because I know so many people are anti AI, and I've just converted, and it converted me off of a great music suggestion. If you really think AI is going to take over the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your thought process on aliens? That will be my barometer metric. Why? Because if you don't think that they're real, I can't trust anything you say. And if you think they're here to take over, I also can't trust anything you say because that's a weird paradigm. It's like if you can't think outside the box, then how do you know that you can discern information correctly? Like you said, like the future's gonna only getting better,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like, do you just have like a worldview of negativism?
It's
You
possible.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So it's like, and then do you believe in like, what do you think about the vaccines? Because like Fauci did say 6 feet apart. Now he's taking that away. So I'm like, you know, if everything's fake, choose what you want to believe in. And I choose to believe that the Greys are here because they want a fun time, and Chat GPT and artificial intelligence is here to support my life, not
Mm-hmm.
take it over.
Right.
And that's just a belief. And it's just like, well, you believe stupid things. It's like, what do you believe, bro? Believe in the Bible? See what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's like,
Yeah.
it was like 1,000 years before they made Moses, or before the life of Moses. They wrote it down 1,000 years after the life of Moses. So it's like, we have to check all of our beliefs at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not doing that, it's like, how can you trust what the person says? Yeah. What
Yeah.
do you think? Because a lot of people are just like, hey, it's going to take over. I'm like, or do you just think that because you're a negative person?
But I've been saying that about a lot of different things.
Right?
Sure.
The whole world's going to end because this COVID variant took us all over. Like, didn't see it end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Y2K is going to kill us all. Didn't see it end.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even if people are like, well, you know that the government is hiding secret physics from you, and then like the Nazis came over in World War II, and like we're all run by Nazis. Let's say that's all real. Let's say it's all real. Then why is it coming to light now? Can't hide forever, bro.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, good will always prevail over evil. I truly believe this. It's just like, just give it time, bro. Like, if not, we wouldn't know about the secret patent war that's going on about UAP tech. Like, dude, that's nefarious and that's crazy. But it's like, yeah, but we know about it now. So, like, just make better decisions. Okay, cool. That's happening. All right. Let's stop doing that, guys. Let's go do this over here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll leave this as a final thought for you. Or do you think that what I'm saying is completely naive and we're policed?
What do you mean by policed?
Like, like, this is a total psyop. You're wasting your time on that. You don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, when people are like, yeah, they just want you to believe that because that's the control tactic of, like you're thinking of it like 20 levels ahead,
That doesn't
bro.
make any sense.
I know, right? It doesn't make any sense.
What?
It's like, okay, so where's the threshold? How do you know
Mm-hmm.
what you believe isn't the psyop?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like at the end of the day, it's just belief on belief. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna choose this one because it sounds cooler than yours.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, no more doom and gloom about AI. It's gonna be sick. Yeah. Any final thoughts, Fish?
Yeah, I mean, technology is always cool.
Yeah, it is always cool. Wait,
I remember you were
I was
afraid of. Sorry,
yeah.
sorry. When I got the HomePod,
I was afraid. Yeah, it was crazy. I'm like, you have to listen to you at all times. Blah blah blah. Oh, we're gonna be in a totalitarian surveillance state. Actually, no, hold on. Wait. Actually, no, hold on. We were watching Hunger Games yesterday, and I was like, oh, that's totalitarian governments. You know the premise behind Hunger Games?
Yeah, yeah,
So, for people who don't know, because Tara read the book, so she wanted to watch the movie again.
yeah. Hmm.
A There was an uprising against a totalitarian government. So, in order to stop that or like pay penance for the uprising, you had to give your child over, like one child from each district to fight to the death. And then there'd be one winner, right? I was like, well, that sounds kind of cruel, you know? And it's like, it's funny because they turned that punishment into entertainment. But
Hmm.
technically, it's a punishment, bro. You know, you had an uprising, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this is about aliens. And Tara's like, oh, everything's about aliens. I'm like, no, because like if the patent war happens and then we have a totalitarian government, we have a one world government. That's the fear. Everyone's like, oh, one world government, blah, 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 right? Okay, totally, totally, totally. But how long will that last? Because if you complete the Hunger Games, it's actually about the uprising against the totalitarian government.
Hmm.
Even the whistleblowers for the UAP thing right now, they're going against the upright. Like it's always good will always defeat evil. I truly think so
Hmm.
because people just want good things. And even if you're controlled, like North Korea, like when we were watching the Hunger Games, like oh, it's like technically like North Korea, totally. But give it like 100 years, give it more. North Korea will be free. You know
Yeah,
how
it's not
long
like North
do?
Korea was here even 200 years ago, right? It was just
That's what I mean, bro. It's
yeah.
just a moment in time. Yeah, the moment in time sucks, but like
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it'll always get better
Yeah.
because at our core, we just want to enjoy our lives.
Hmm.
But really, though, like
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. Yeah.
even the rich person just wants to enjoy their life. Go to the poorest person ever. They just want to enjoy their life,
Hmm.
and the only way to do that is just like keep swimming until it gets better. You know, so
Yeah.
good will always prevail. Okay, final
Well, I
quick
mean, yeah,
question.
it's
Yeah,
swimming and you see, well, doing things too. Sometimes you do things you're not really thinking about your own generation, but the future.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 100% agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
it might not work out now, but in the future it'll work out.
Hmm.
Like even like okay, we're not like I'm not having a kid, so it's like I can't technically put out somebody in the world to share my ideas with. Okay, but we record this podcast every week, and there's like
Yeah, it doesn't have
hundreds of
to.
episodes
Yeah,
now.
yeah, it
You know what I
doesn't
mean?
have to be
It's
your own
like
kid. It could just be humanity in,
right.
in general. Yeah.
You just have to put an idea out there,
Hmm.
and you don't know who that spark of an idea will help. You know,
Hmm.
so it's like if you can say anything, say something that'll advance humanity. That's how I look at it. It's just like, will this make you feel better? Cool, I'll put it out. You know, or like, should this make you think? All right, cool, I'll put it out. Right.
Hmm.
And it's like you don't know who that's affecting
Right.
for the better. You don't have to like procreate in order to make humanity better.
Hmm.
You just have to be a good person, and your actions will domino effect into making the world a better place.
Hmm.
Because the world is literally just a bunch of people. Like, what is society except like a bunch of individuals?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So if a bunch of us start being like, yeah, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool, let's fix this. It's like, okay, so society will fix itself.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, but there's a ruling elite that won't let that happen. Cool. All right, we're just gonna uprise. They did it in France. They killed the monarchs.
Hmm.
Done. You know what I mean? Like, good will always fight back against evil. Moses, thousands of years of oppression for the Jews. Moses freed his slaves.
Hmm.
It literally, that's just the story arc. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that is the hero's journey, bro.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, final question, and I really, really gotta go. Went super overtime. I'm gonna be sprinting. Um, what is the worst thing you can do for your health outside of like sleep and like what? Yeah, what were you taught?
What do you mean? Worst thing you can do for your health?
Yeah, like we're like, oh, dude, don't do that. That's terrible for you.
Uh, I don't know. Drinking. I don't know.
Ooh, interesting.
Not that I was told that.
Why?
I don't remember.
Why'd you say drinking?
That's just my understanding. Drinking is just not.
Why? You wouldn't say cigarettes?
Well, I wasn't even thinking of cigarettes because I don't do cigarettes. So.
No, I mean just like most people. Like I'm saying, like if you're just a person and you're just like, you don't do that. That's not good for you. What's it gonna be? You choose drinking.
Or smoking. I guess you're right about smoking. Yeah.
You'd say smoking.
Yeah.
Your final decision: choose smoking or drinking.
I'll say smoking then.
All right, same. I was like, yeah, just don't smoke, bro. That's terrible for you. No, it's not. You were right in your first guess. Tara told me.
Oh.
She's like, everyone thinks it's smoking, but arguably, it's actually like scientifically, alcohol is way worse for your body. But I'm like, but everyone says like drink like a glass of wine a day. She's like, yes, they want the riboflavins, but you can actually get that off of dark colored, like because red wine, one glass of red wine a day, good for you. But like they're talking about the red color. So she's like, anything with red color actually has the exact same thing. So you can eat cherries, you'll get the exact same antioxidants. It's not actually that, like, you don't need red wine. And then she's like, statistically, having 4 drinks a day increases a week increases your chance of breast cancer by 40%. Nothing compares to like cigarette smoking and all that. It's like how normal we have made alcohol in our society, and it is literally the worst thing you could do for you. It's inflammatory, it doesn't allow you to sleep. The breast cancer thing, you're just like, what? But it's so normal.
Yeah, it's in all cultures. Yeah. Well,
It's in all cultures.
Yeah.
Right. There again is the illusion. Like, how many times do you have to be like, oh, it's fake, to be like, wait, is everything fake?
Mm-hmm.
What do we trust here? You have to trust your own discernment because, like, we were taught the wrong thing. I thought it was smoking too. Turns out it's alcohol, but alcohol's so normalized. Okay. So, what do I believe? You know? Yeah. Just the thought. All right. Anyways.
Should have stuck with my first guess.
I know you should have. When you said it, I was like, I perked up. I was
I
like,
didn't even
how'd you
think
know
about.
that?
I didn't even think about smoking. I really, because I don't think about smoking.
Because nobody, who the fuck smokes anymore, bro?
Yeah.
I can't really spoil that. My bad. But like, who smokes anymore, right? You know, what I mean? Like, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
You know, only like immigrants from like third world countries smoke. Like, they chain smoke, bro. Like, I see them smoking, but like a regular person doesn't smoke anymore. It's weird.
Yeah.
You know, because we've like phased that out. But it turns out, oh no, it's actually alcohol, not smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wild. Anyways, the propaganda is real. Marketing matters, bro. All right. Till next week. Yeah. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.